Charlie, I didn't see everything from SEC Media Days concerning Tennessee, but I saw a lot. And it was all talk about the offense and how exciting it is. And that's great and that's amazing. And we just expect it to get better because Hendon Hooker talked about, despite his amazing stats that you just alluded to, at 31 touchdowns and 3 picks, that there are things that he can do better that he talked about, throws that he missed. And obviously, he was in a situation where he was battling for the job and lost the job out of August camp. So he didn't get first team reps. All these things work to his advantage coming into this year, being the entrenched starter for the entire offseason. But I'm going to flip to the defense and say, yeah, it's one of these situations where it's like, just give us some help, get us some stops, and or sometimes just keep the other offense on the field for a long time and make them kick a field goal. Are there traces? Are there individual players that were decent last year that could break out, that could make this a better defense this year?
Yeah, so you start. I mean, Tennessee had I forget exactly where they finished, but one of the best stat lines last year for tackles for loss. To some extent, that is a product of the fact that they just play so many downs. The defense does. They're just on the field a ton, so you get a lot of opportunities for tackles for loss. But still, the players got to make those plays, and they did. You have guys like Byron Young on the edge. You have guys like who was at SEC Media Days. Why am I drawing a blank? It wasn't Trayvon Flowers, right? Why am I drawing a blank?
Trayvon Flowers.
That is what it was. I couldn't remember if I had his last name wrong. There's been a couple of Trayvons on Tennessee's team in the last few years. Yeah, Flowers. Sorry about that. That was weird. I just drank coffee. My brain. I'm seeing sounds right now. Yeah, Trayvon Flowers. Nah, it's fine. Leave it in there. But Flowers. Who I would say you really want him to be the replacement for Lante Taylor. You lose Lante Taylor, it's a huge amount of production, and not just a huge amount of production, but he's a big leader. He was a very vocal leader. He brought a lot of fire to that defense, and made some really big plays last year for you. And you got to replace him, and you hope that Flowers is that guy, or someone is that guy, and you really hope that a guy like Jeremy Banks can step up, or some of the Juwan Mitchell is another guy at linebacker that you really hope can come in and grow. Juwan Mitchell ended up getting injured and didn't really play much last year, but you hope that he's a guy that can come in and be a big contributor. But Jeremy Banks, he's incredibly athletically gifted, but a real hothead. He makes a lot of stupid plays and has gotten a lot of personal fouls and can hurt the team that way. If he can cut that out, focus on just his athleticism, I think he can be a great sort of leader for that defense too. So there are absolutely pieces to answer that question. Absolute pieces. You have Byron Young's stats there: 46 tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. I was saying it on our show this past week. You take that production and specifically the sacks, and you double it. And I mean, I think Tennessee could arguably have one of the better pass rushes in the SEC if you can get that from him. Just take that career step forward, because you do also have guys like Jeremy Banks, who you're showing the stats of there, who were really they put up a lot of numbers last year, 128 tackles. I mean, that guy's all over the field. You just gotta get him to be the better leader, the senior guy, level-headed. And I also said this on our show. I would love to hear Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator. I would love to hear his real thoughts right now about where this unit is at. They lost key pieces. I mean, it was Matthew Butler, who was great on the defensive line relative to what Tennessee did last year on defense, and just some dudes like that where you go, how is that production getting replaced? And I'll be watching closely to see exactly where they go on defense, because the fact is this: Tennessee's going to get theirs on offense. No one disputes that, I think. Heupel's system is just crazy effective. He springs guys open. They score points. But if the defense can hold marginally better, give up 30 points instead of 35 points in a game, Tennessee will, if you only score 30 points against Tennessee, most games Tennessee's going to beat you. Unless you're Georgia, where you can just you have the dudes to hold that offense down. Tennessee can beat you if you score 30 points against them. And just that marginal step forward. And I think that is the step that could take Tennessee from 7 to 9 wins, 7 to 8, 7 to 10, but it all comes down to, will they actually do that? The Tennessee fan in me that has been beaten down for years and years and years says no, but I would love to be proven wrong. I was proven wrong multiple times this season. Basketball won an SEC championship. Never thought I'd see that. Baseball won an SEC championship. Things are going right at Tennessee. So maybe it's football's turn.